Good morning everybody. We're going to be looking at the Hemi today. It's got a MOT coming up shortly, so we'll be having a look at it. There's a fork gaiter that's split that needs replacing, and what I do is have a look at the headrace bearings, because these bikes do, or originally they did, suffer from water ingress into the headrace bearings. So we'll have a little look at that. We'll have a check, and I'll show you my secret invention, which works. So yeah, let's have a look anyway. There you go, front wheel off the ground. You can actually do this. When I was up in Scotland, you can do this without having to remove the fork legs. You can I actually dropped the whole front end in the headstock, just enough so I could check the bearings out, and they were rusty. But no, we'll have a look at these now anyway. This is my secret invention. All it is a right angled piece of plate that actually fits between the mudguard and the bottom yoke. So we'll have this mudguard off first, and I'll show you. Right, here we go. Where's all the cool cuff flappers? We've still got one in there. There you go. That's your mudguard. Oh. And basically, that's all it is, and it just fits in there. And keeps the rain off of this bearing, because you can see the bearing. There's no water seal on it. And when you look at your front wheel, if you're going along 21-inch front tyre, the water will come straight off of this tyre, and it's going more or less straight into your where your headrace is. So this little plate, it's got a bit rusty now, but I can clean it up. Does the job. Just sits there, doesn't interfere with anything, and hopefully keeps that bearing dry. We'll have a look anyway. Fingers crossed. Alright, so we'll start with we'll just remove this bracket here, which holds the brake line in position. And we've got the ABS sensor wire there as well. It's just starting out of the I noticed the powder coat. I've had this bike for over 4 years now, been on for 5 years, and the powder coating now is just starting to peel off. It's just starting to do what Harleys used to do in about 6 months. So back in the day. But yeah, so take that out, and we crack off we undo the bolt to the sensor, the ABS sensor. Right, we'll crack the axle nut off. sensor. Right, there's the, got to be a little bit careful with this, that's the ABS sensor. Right, so we've front wheels out, the brake sensor which goes in there, we've taken that out, brake calipers off, I've hooked it up, I've tie wrapped it up on one of the crash bars because you don't really want it hanging off the hoses. So all we got to do now is basically take the key out. Be handy, wouldn't it? What you can do, you can get away. I have got away with checking the bearings on this by taking the headstock off and dropping the whole, with the front wheel still in situ, dropping the whole, jack the bike up with some wood. I did it up in Scotland, put some wood under there so the front wheel's off the ground. Give yourself enough clearance, and if you're careful, it's not the way you're supposed to do it. You can take all this off, move the bars over, undo your bolt, your nut, sorry, which you'll see in a bit, and just drop it so the bearings are exposed and you can check your races that way. But I've just got a feeling these are probably on their way out. So it's not notchy yet, but I've just got a feeling. So I'm going to check them because, like I say, I've got to put new gaiter on because this is had it. So I've got a new set of gaiters. So we'll put those on, and while we're doing it, while we've got to have the fork legs out, we'll check those bearings, because there's plenty of grease around there. But that one there is the one you get the water ingress, and it comes straight off the front wheel, and from the front tyre, and I watched it go straight in there. And I've had 3 sets of head race bearings in this since I've had it, which is getting on for 5 years now. So the first year I had got through 2 sets. So 2 or 3 sets in the first year, until I made my little plate, which is here, which has gone a little bit rusty. I'll have to clean that up, but that fits up in there, and it sandwiches between the mudguard and the bottom fork yoke, and just covers that bearing, and it seems to have worked. So we'll have a little look, see what's going on with them. Right. Gonna loosen these off. Do the top ones, the 2 top ones, and the top headstock. Over to this side. do the bottom one and then I'll loosen the top one off in a bit. Right then, so let's do these handlebar clamps. Get this off, these bolts. Some of the fit and finish, you know, you can have some issues with looms. Whoever put it together in the factory, so it's a lottery where your loom goes and it can be a bit tight. There's been issues, not with this bike, I've been lucky with this one, but a few of them have had wires break where the looms are so tight. But no, I've not had any problems apart from the headrace bearings. I took the air injection off of it, and I took the little carbon evap thing off straight away, because that basically fills full of fuel and it goes hard, and it doesn't work properly. You know, that's just it's just to take the vapours from your fuel tank, which used to just be a little tube basically, and put it into a carbon canister, which is just overkill. It's rubbish. So that came off, the air injection came off, got a free flow pipe on it. I've played around with other things, performance, not really performance, but come to the conclusion that you're better off leaving these bikes more or less alone, apart from doing the basics, just freeing them up a little bit and taking off the stuff that you don't need. All this EU rubbish. You've got a good little bike, and it is what it is. It's 24.5 horsepower, and no matter what really you do to them, well, I suppose you could put a cam in it. I've actually got a cam, but whatever you do to them, really, I don't think it's worth it. Just leave them alone. Anyway, handlebars off. So now they're free. They're moving around, which means we should be able to. Let's just stick that. Yeah, we'll stick those up there like that. Now I'm just going to slacken this nut off now with my big 30mm spanner. There we go. Everybody should have one of these, just for the fact that it's a big spanner. There we go. So that's your top nut coming off, and that's basically, apart from the two clamps for the forks, all that holds this top yoke on. So we'll lick that off. Slacken these off again, and that should, tell you what we'll do, we'll pull the forks, we'll pull the fork legs down, there we go, there's the fork leg just gone down, and I'll just secure it bottom, and then we'll come and go to the left hand fork. There you go, that one's dropped, and then this thing will just lift off. You've got to be a bit careful. There you go, and there's your nut, and under there you unscrew that nut. Now most Japanese bikes I've ever had have had two of these. They've had a lock nut on top. Now this one hasn't, which could be the reason why it backs off now and again, but anyway, we'll have that off in a minute. But I'm going to drop these fork legs out. So we'll just tweak this, and there you go. There's your fork leg, left hand fork leg, and that drops out. Put that over there. And then we flip this round, and there you go. Just loosen that lower bolt and the right hand fork leg flips out, and you can see where the powder coating, after 5 years of total abuse, is just starting to lift, which for the price of the bike, how long it's lasted, it doesn't bother me. It can get a bit crappy in there, a bit greasy. But yeah, these bikes, amazing little bikes. Like I say, when I first bought this one, which I've had almost 5 years, it was a lottery. I thought, was it going to be a load of rubbish made in India, a load of rubbish poorly put together, or was it going to be you know, I just didn't know. But for the price, I thought, let's give it a go. And I can honestly say, out of all the bikes I've ever owned, this has been the most versatile and the most, I've had the most entertainment out of it. Had some great times on it, on the trails and on the road. Little Himalayan functions. It's like a little community. Well, it was a little community. Everybody's gone out and bought these now, but we're now waiting in anticipation of the new Himalayan, the 450, which will probably have well, obviously it's going to be a lot better on the road because it's got more power, but I think it's probably more along the lines of a KTM engine. It's a modern engine. This engine in here, basically you can work on it, you can do all the stuff on it, you can work on it yourself. It's basically what we know, us older guys, as a 1980s Jap bike engine. Okay, it's fuel injected, but no, it's old school. You know, the valves will adjust with your little screws and lock nut adjusters, so it's a fantastic bike to work on, and you do have to work on it now and again, you know, just to keep it up and running. Nothing bad, but it just needs maintenance, which is what I've always been used to doing anyway with my bikes. So yeah, I think, you know, we'll wait and see what this new 450 is like, but this, I think, is gonna, it's got a hell of a following, and I look at this thing as it's in the way of say a Land Rover Defender of the motorcycle world. That's exactly what it is. It's not fast on the road, but and it's not super quick off-road, but it will chug on. Off-road it will go anywhere if you just take it steady. You know, if you're going to have it flying through the air, then you can have problems, like you would with most bikes that are so-called adventure bikes. But if you just take this steady, it would take you anywhere. It would go anywhere. Absolutely chuffed to bits with it. So yeah. Anyway, let's get this. Let's drop this bottom yoke. So I'm now going to turn this old nut. I'm going to turn it, and I'm unscrewing it. And as I turn it, that spindle's going to drop, and it will basically, you'll see the bottom races. Yeah, I'm just going to chuck a bit more grease around that. A bit more grease. Like I say, they're smooth. They're working nice and smooth, but they're going to need replacing. So they do me until my MOT. My MOT is this week. It's Sunday now, so I've got my MOT booked in, I think, on Wednesday. Once the bike's MOT'd, next weekend perhaps I'll have the bearings out and put some new ones in. I'll show you that, because that's not as difficult as you think. Just involves a freezer and maybe some heat. So yeah, anyway, let's get this this thing buttoned up and get those fork gaiters on. Tying it up. Right, so those bearings, they're running really smooth. Or smooth considering there's a couple of rusty ones. So now, you can get a spanner for this, like a C spanner, but most people haven't got that, or I haven't. What I'm going to do is just tap that round a little bit. There's no play. See, because they're taper roller bearings, if you do them up too tight, they're going to graunch. They're going to tighten up on themselves, so you just have to get a happy medium. But that is okay, and obviously you have to check for play. If they're too loose, that will rattle in the race, so you need to have it just about right. And like I say, if it was a jack bite, you'd have another lock nut on here to go on, but these, for whatever reason, don't have them. Put this back down over there. And I think basically the theory with Royal Enfield is once that's pressed down on that nut, it keeps it in place, stops it from backing off, but they do back off. Anyway, here's your top nut, your pretty nut, your little chrome nut. Actually, I might stick a little bit, I'm going to clean that thread, just stick a little bit of mild thread lock on there, just to hold it in place. I use the purple thread lock. There's red, which with your thread locks there's red, which yeah, you find it difficult to get something off if it's been red thread lock. Then you get your blue thread lock, which I do believe is medium, which you find quite a lot. So the Suzuki had a lot of blue on it. And you find purple, which is a mild thread lock, just handy for keeping things at bay, but easy to take them off. Or fourth, you find no thread lock, which is called Benelli. Anyway, and we're going to just put just a little dibble. No, we're not, because I haven't opened it. A little dibble in there, not a lot. Should do it, and then just screw it down. So what we got in there, we got one partially rubber and partially plastic fork gaiter. So, you've got a clip here, you've got a clip at the top, holds that on, and that's where it broke at the bottom, so I taped it up. And then that just fits over there. And look at that, and then you can secure that. I'm going to secure that with the tie wrap. Let's put the clip back on. There you go. Oops. That's as easy as that. There you go. And then I'll put some tie wraps around here when they're on the bike. So that's the first one. I mean, I could have bought some aftermarket ones, there's probably varying qualities of aftermarket ones, but I thought for the price of these, and they weren't very dear, just get the standard ones. So that's the next one to go on. There you go, see. Okay, so the first fork is going in. That is the left-hand fork. We just push it up. Oh, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but yeah, you mate it up with the top yoke. Ooh. There you go, that's up in the top yoke. And then we're nipping these up lightly, because sometimes you have to readjust your fork. So I don't know if we can see this. So I'm just coming in here, nipping the two tops up lightly. And what I've done, I don't know if you can see, but there's a cap on here, and the cap screws into the top of the fork leg. Now I always have the cap proud. You could push this cap down so it's flush with the top of the yoke, but I always have the cap proud. So if you have to whip your springs out, it's not being clamped by this. So that couple of mil there is an aluminium cap. So I always have that proud. Right, second fork's going in, and then that goes up, and that's gone straight up into that top yoke, no problem. Right then, next thing, handlebars. So these will gently lower back into there. What have I done with it? You put your handlebar clamp on, like so. 4 bolts. And I'm just going to you put the wheel in, get the wheel in more or less in alignment. Speedo cable, don't forget that. Now that's got 2 ears on the inside. See the 2 ears? That's going to line up with the 2 cutouts. That's the drive, so there's 2 cutouts there, 2 ears on there. So that, I know most of you guys, I'm teaching you how to suck eggs. It's no big deal for you guys, but it's so much to vlog, isn't it? So I'll lift that. Now the speedo engages into a little tab. So I'm going to lift that up. Get your wheel spindle. Just stick that on there. Through the speedo. Hopefully through the wheel. There you go. And as you come through this side, there's a spacer here. You put that on there. There you go. Let's just push through. So you put your nut. You should probably put your washer on there. And a nut. Well, I personally replace that. I will do when I take these forks out to do the bearings. I'm going to order myself a new one, a couple of them. It's like a grip nut. So that's just on there. Wheel spins. Wheel spinning nicely. Like I say, we're through there. It's gone through. The speedo's engaged on the little tab there, look. And the little tab, spacers in that side, so we're good to go. Right, so I'm just going to torque that front nut now. That'll be in the book what you torque it to. I do. Yeah. There you go. Right then, next thing is the brake caliper and the sensor, this sensor here. So pads are okay. Just make sure your pads are got the gap in them between the pads, so your disc can go in there. This, I do believe I put this goes in there. That's the caliper on, and I run this between the two caliper mounting bolts and the fork leg, so that's in there, and that's so that keeps it out of the way really, rather than running it round there or on the inside where it can get snagged. So it comes down here, just tucks in between the two mounting bolts. There's plenty of room behind there. So right, let's put the mounting bolts in for the caliper. And these should be torqued. Everything should be torqued, but I do, because I'm old, I go by a bit like my mate at work. I can feel the torque. Right, so here we go. This fits in. That's your sensor for your brakes. That just pushes through the hole in the fork and secured by a little Allen bolt. Now the original, this is a nice sort of stainless one I put in, because the original one, the Indian one, was horrible. So I swapped it for a nice one. So that just fits in there, and I don't know if you can see this here is all connected to your braking system and your ABS, your anti-lock. So that pickup is picking up these little cutouts. It's a signal. Right, anyway, so we'll nip these up. It should be torqued. Or we'll torque them later. And we bring this one round here. There you go. That's secured that. So there you have it. Reverse procedure. So I've tightened the two top yoke bolts, the two bottom bolt yoke bolts. We've torqued the wheel axle. It's worth running all over it as a double check anyway. Once you've done it, go through it again, go through the procedure again, just checking, double checking. Handlebars are tight, and it looks yeah, that looks in line to me. So yeah, job done. That's one set of fork gaiters replaced, and headrace bearings looked at. and like I say, they're going to be replaced in a week or so, so I'll show you how to do that. It involves a fridge and some heat, but a lot of you guys will know that anyway. Know what I'm on about. It's right.